What's going on, everyone? Michael Wolverine here with another video. Today's video is going to be my Nintendo 64 collection. I do want to say real quick, I've been enjoying a lot of the other collection videos I've seen. Total Level, Ballistic Coffee Boy, Black Ranger, Drinking Games with Josh, and Tiger Chainsaw. Really have been enjoying your guys' content and enjoying those videos that you guys are putting out. So I just wanted to do a quick shout out for you guys. And I'll put a link to their channels in my description of this video, just in case you guys want to go and check out their channels and check out those videos if you get a chance to. Also, I've been having a lot of fun making these myself. I am enjoying working through my collection and just, talking about games that I have and seeing your guys' comments and just talking about different stuff and things you might have questions on or things I might have questions on. It's just a lot of fun, and I really do appreciate it. So I wanted to thank everyone for that. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So here's my console. So currently I don't have any of the jungle green or the other colors, the orange and the blue and the Fantastic series, I guess. I just have the standard gray one. I may pick up one of those if I ever see them out and about, but for now I just want to have a working console. So this is my N64, and then I do have the expansion pack in there, and so that is definitely a very needed accessory if you have one. So I'm glad that if you have an N64, I should say. So if you guys have an N64, definitely recommend picking that up. So I'm glad I have that. Because it does enhance some games, and it is needed for a few of them. So I'll put that to the side. So first, we're going to go through my controllers, and then we'll do my accessories, and then the games. So I'm sure all you guys are aware, the N64 controller is weird. I don't like to call it bad because I do actually like the controller. It's not my favorite. But I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is. I think the biggest problem is the control stick, obviously. It's just they're so flimsy and they wear very easily over time. So I thought it'd be fun to go through my controllers, and I'm going to rate my control sticks on each. So it's going to be a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being borderline unplayable, 10 being brand new out of the box. So let's start with this one. Okay, so first one up, we got my yellow one. This controller is pretty tight. It's not too wobbly, so that's good. It does have a lot of grind, though. I don't know if you can hear that. It's got a lot of grind. It's not a smooth controller by any means. So this one, I'm probably going to say it's probably a 6 out of 10. It's not bad, but definitely that grind is not great. So 6 out of 10. I'm going to say that one. All right, next up, we will look at the standard gray one. I think everybody probably has one of these if you own an N64. This one is a little bit wobbly. As you can see, it's not super tight. Doesn't have the grind that the yellow does. I think this one I'll probably say I'm gonna say 6 out of 10 too. I think it's a little bit more wobbly, but it doesn't have the grind of the yellow. So this one I would say slightly better, but I'm gonna put it in the same category just because of its wobble. Okay. So let me go through my next two. So I bought a lot on eBay. It had 2 controllers and a memory card, and it was a pretty cheap lot. I think it was about $30 that I picked it up. And if you are in the market for Nintendo 64 controllers, you know that they, I think they go for about $24, $25, depending on the stick, of course. These, when I got them, I could see why that lot was so cheap. So this one, I mean, first of all, I don't even know what color this is supposed to be. I think the seller had said it was gold at one point, but this looks like, I don't know what this looks like. It is bad. It is a terrible, terrible colored controller. Stick-wise, I mean, it's got a ton of wobble. I mean, just like, I'm barely moving it. It's just so wobbly. And actually, it's not too bad on the grind part. It's just the wobble is pretty bad, real loose, and then obviously the color. Like, this is so faded. I don't even know what color this used to be. But what's weird is the little the end is the same color as the controller, so it's like they both faded at the same time. I don't know, just really weird. This one I'm gonna say, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's not as bad as I remembered. I kind of forgot because I don't really use the controller, honestly, that much. It's not as bad, but I will say 5 out of 10. All right, so we'll go through. All right, so this was the other controller that came in that lot. This one is blue, obviously, and this stick is, my gosh, like, look at that. I mean, this is a piece of crap. This stick is terrible. It is so wobbly. I mean, it leans to the side. I mean, look at that. It's not even straight. Like, I don't know if I can, look at that. See? It's not even straight. Like, look at that right now. It's down. Again, it still works. And if you try to push it to the left, there's like a little, like, look at that. This thing is just so worn. Terrible. This one is borderline unplayable. It works. I did try it, test it out when I got it, but I had never used this controller because it is a piece of shit. I'm sorry. But I do like the color, and I do want to get a better blue one or fix this stick one of these days. You actually can replace these sticks, so maybe I'll do that on this just so I can keep this controller. But yeah, I kind of regretted this purchase after I picked it up. But ranking wise, I mean, I'm going to give this one a 2. I mean, it's better than a 1 because I think it probably is playable, at least a little bit. But yeah, I'm probably never going to use this controller. All right, let me put this over to the side, try to make room for all this. All right, so I got 2 more to show you guys. So the next one up is the standard black controller. This one is really good. It's a little bit loose, not too bad, but very smooth, very clicky. I mean, this is how they should be, and this is how they are, when they're in good shape. This is the one I use the most, actually. It's not my best controller. I'll show you that one next, but this is the one I tend to use a lot. I like the color of it, and the stick's great. So this one I'm going to say 8 out of 10. It's not perfect. It's not brand new, but it is definitely functional. And I wouldn't say as good as it can get, but I mean, this is pretty close. All right. And then last controller is the standard green one. Now this controller, I mean, a little wobbly, but not major. And I mean, this is like butter. This stick is so good. So this is my best controller by far. It's honestly so good I don't even use it, which kind of defeats the purpose of even having it. But this stick is just butter smooth, and I love this color. I'm gonna start using it. I think, my mentality is I collect things I want to use and games I want to play. So if I'm gonna buy something just to put it on a shelf, just because it looks nice, I'm not gonna buy it. I want to play it. So I will use this, but I do use that black controller, like I said, more. So, but yeah, so if I rank this one, I'm going to say 9 out of 10. I think this is as good as it's going to get, unless it's brand new, of course. Definitely really like this controller, and very, very nice stick. So probably my best one. So, when you're buying N64 controllers, ultimately, it's all about the stick. You can still find them in good shape. You might have to pay a little bit more. And when you're on about, just definitely make sure you're buying ones that have good sticks. They still exist, but they are, that's just kind of how it is with the N64. Not the best control sticks, and they just wear real easily, especially with constant use. All right, so let's do my accessories real quick, and then we'll get to the games. All right, so here's my memory cards. So I have a couple of first-party Nintendo ones, pretty standard. And then I have this one. This is like what is this, Tommy? This is like a new model version you can get on Amazon. I think these run about $10. So pretty cool. I mean, I don't really care about memory cards as far as being first party. I got 2 of these in lot. Actually, both of these were in lots. And then this one I just bought when I bought my system just to have one. The cool thing, or the interesting thing about the N64 is there's so many different ways that the games would save. So a lot of the third-party titles use these memory cards, and a lot of the first-party have internal saves. So some of them use batteries, some of them use another chip in the cartridge. So it's just a lot of different ways that you can save. So whenever you're purchasing a game and you're not sure, definitely look it up because you may need one of these memory cards. But if you don't, it's usually like the first party Nintendo games. Pretty convenient because I always forget what I have on each of these memory cards. So I have to probably need to label these or just pop them in every now and then to figure out which one has my save file. So thought that's kind of unique about the N64. And then I have 2 Rumble packs. Well, this is a trimmer pack, it's called. It's a third-party Rumble pack. Unfortunately, I don't think this works. I bought it in a lot and tried to test it out. It didn't seem to work, so maybe one day I'll get it and then get it to work. And then here is my Rumble pack. This is the first-party one that came with Star Fox, and I think you could also buy this by itself. Great little device, great little accessory for the Nintendo 64. I do think it is a little bit wonky. It kind of weighs down your controller a little bit, so I don't use it as much as I thought I would. I do think it's really good in Zelda Ocarina of Time because there's an item you can get that will show you some secret holes in the ground, so you can kind of get rupees and stuff. And obviously Star Fox, it's great. That's what this probably was designed for. So yeah, the Nintendo 64 memory card. Definitely good to have if you have a Nintendo 64. All right, guys. Well, now, without further ado, let's start going through my games. I'm sure that's what all you guys came to see. So I have them grouped into categories. And I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different categories of games. The Nintendo 64 is probably my largest library of games that I currently own. I think at the time of this video, I have about 53 games, so I'm going to go through some of them fast. I did get a little bit of gameplay footage for some of them that I wanted to add to this video just to kind of highlight them because I think there's some games that I don't hear about as much or I don't see gameplay as much, so I thought it'd be cool to highlight those. And then, yeah, so let's get started. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. All right, so let's go through my sports games first. Now, I do want to ask one question for this video that I would like to get your guys' input on. What is your thoughts on Nintendo 64 in labels? So I have a couple in my collection that have in labels. I haven't actually bought a set to use on all of my cartridges. Something about putting a sticker on a cartridge, just I'm not sure I'm comfortable with it. But I'm curious because they do look really good, and I do think it would be easier to kind of pick off my games from the shelf without going through the whole collection when I'm trying to find something. So I'm curious to your guys' thoughts. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. So we'll go through my sports games first. So first one up here, we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And like I said, I'm going to go through these a little quickly just so I can get through everything. Got another one, FIFA, what is this, Road to the World Cup 98. We got Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey 98. This is a really fun kind of NFL Blitz style hockey game. We got NBA Hang Time. This is basically NBA Jam. And NHL 99. Very fun hockey game for the Nintendo 64. All right, got some more here. We got Kobe Bryant's NBA Courtside. All-Star Baseball 99. NFL Quarterback Club 99. NFL Quarterback Club 98. NFL Blitz 2001. Great game. NFL Blitz was huge back then. Just tons of fun. Had tons of memories of playing NFL Blitz. I don't think I had played that one as much, the 2001, but really they're all the same. Madden 99. Trying to make sure I don't drop these. NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. Another NBA Jam game. This is like a little bit more upgraded version of NBA Jam. It's kind of like, it's basically like that 3D hockey, Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey game, but basketball. This one's a ton of fun. I definitely recommend picking it up. It's very cheap. I think I got this for $5, so I was real happy to get that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely worth it if you want to play an upgraded NBA Jam. So definitely check it out. And last, this one just has a lot of nostalgia for me. That's Madden Football 64. I had this growing up. It was just a good football game. I haven't really gone back and played it. I did capture a little bit of gameplay footage, and whenever I go back to these N64 football games, I just have a hard time getting back into them. I think there's something, just the controls and mechanics are just, they've improved so much that going back to these older games, it's a little difficult. But I do remember having a lot of fun with this one. It doesn't have the NFL license, which is kind of weird. It's all very generic. It just has like, the city names, but it has the players. So I guess they had the player. Yeah, so they had the players union agree. So all the player names are in there, but the teams are just generic. So a little disappointing, but kind of how it is. So I'm actually going to put these on the ground over here because I'm going to have way too much stacked up. All right, guys. So let's do shooters next. What do you think? All right. So first up, we got Hexan. So this is a kind of a Doom type game. It's a really cool first-person shooter for the Nintendo 64. I don't really see this one talked about too much, so I wanted to highlight this one. What's cool about it that I remember is that you have you can play cooperatively, which there wasn't a lot of games like that on the N64. And the graphics are pretty good. It's not really 3-dimensional. It's more kind of like those kind of flat character models, but like Doom was, the original Doom. But it's a lot of fun, so definitely pick this one up. It's pretty cheap, and I think you guys will enjoy it. All right, speaking of Doom, we got Doom 64. Now, if you've never played Doom 64, turn off all the lights in your house and try to walk around. That's Doom 64. This game is so dark. Like, look at the gameplay footage. I'm telling you, it's dark. I don't know why. This is actual gameplay footage. It's dark. I don't understand why it was created that way. And what's really frustrating is it's actually a good version of Doom. Like, it's a good game. And there wasn't a lot of console versions of Doom at the time that were really good. I think this one definitely, it's a good game. Now, the other frustrating part is there's goggles you can get in the game that will actually brighten up the game. And it's like, why couldn't they just make the game look like this, But, if you're a fan of Doom, I think it's worth picking up. If you have, you can probably play around with your TV settings and turn up the brightness. And maybe there's a Game Shark code to get those goggles. But there's also ports of this on PlayStation 4 and Switch. So play those versions. They're much better. They turned up the brightness a lot, so it looks a lot better. And yeah, this is a good version of Doom. It's kind of a new, it's like, I don't know if it's a sequel, but it's just kind of a new version of Doom. So it's a lot of fun, but yeah, this game is just dark. All right, next one we got is Quake 2. Now, this game is a ton of fun as well. I think it might be one of the best looking games on the Nintendo 64, and it's not as dark as Doom, so that's nice. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, first person shooter. Haven't tried out the multiplayer on it. I picked this one up just because I thought it looked cool, and I think I always kind of heard of Quake, but never really played too much of it. And yeah, this is a good game. Definitely pick it up, guys. It's not too expensive, so I definitely recommend this if you guys want another first-person shooter for the Nintendo 64. All right, next one we have Perfect Dark. My copy's a little rough. I got to get probably a better copy one of these days. Just a pretty faded label, but it works. So, you guys don't know, I'm sure you do, but Perfect Dark is the spiritual successor to GoldenEye 007. And honestly, in a lot of ways, probably better than GoldenEye. I think it's, for me, the nostalgia of GoldenEye will always, make me want to play that more than this. But I definitely think this is a great game. It has the cooperative play, which is really cool. So if you want to do that couch co-op, you can play that in this. I also think you can have bots in the multiplayer, so you can add a couple computers in there if you only have 2 people and you want to add some additional players to play deathmatch against. So it's just a lot of fun. Great game. Definitely a must-have for the Nintendo 64. And especially if you're a fan of GoldenEye, and I love Perfect Dark, great game. And then, of course, gotta have it, GoldenEye 007. What can I say? It's a classic. All right, so let's do racing games because there wasn't enough racing games on the Nintendo 64. And first up, we got NASCAR 99, and then this is one of those games that has an in label. We got Excitebike 64. So this is actually a pretty good game. I never played this. I got this in my very first retro game treasure box. You can go way back in and check that video out if you want. Sorry, I just spoiled it, but got this in that box. This is a lot of fun, and definitely really, really like this game. I don't know if it has the appeal of the NES Excitebike, but it is a really cool, really fun racing motorcycle game. Got to get used to the controls a little bit. It's a little more. I've never really driven a dirt bike, so I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it does feel like it's a little bit more realistic than some of these arcade games, but still a lot of fun. Definitely recommend picking this one up. Another one is Monster Truck Madness 64. So this one is really interesting. So when I booted this one up, I didn't even realize. Well, first of all, you can see it's got Rockstar's logo on it, so it's a Rockstar game. And then also, it's a Microsoft game. So Microsoft and Rockstar made a game for the Nintendo 64. It just blows my mind. I know Rockstar did Body Harvest, I believe, is the other one, but it doesn't have the logo on it. But that game I want to pick up. I don't have that in my collection yet, but it's kind of a GTA-like game. But this one was really cool. Like, I didn't realize. So, I remember this as a kid, but like the monster trucks, they must have had a deal with like WCW because there's a bunch of monster trucks of WCW wrestlers. And what's awesome is they're in this game. So there's like you can see in the video, I'm playing as Hollywood Hogan, the Hollywood Hogan truck, and then there's a Bret Hart one, there's a Sting one, there's an NWO Wolfpack, and I think there might have been another one, I can't remember, but I didn't know that was in the game, so it's pretty cool. The game, though, definitely takes some getting used to. It is very hard to control. I was really struggling with it. I'm guessing, again, it's probably how a monster truck drives. I've never driven a monster truck, so I don't know, but kind of interesting game, and definitely one I would recommend checking out if you're just for the uniqueness of it. So, all right, next one I got is San Francisco Rush. So, great racing game, fun racing game. Definitely one. I think Atari made this and Midway, so that's kind of cool as well. It was an arcade port, and there was so many different Rush games in the arcade at the time. I think there's 3 that were ported to the Nintendo 64. This is the only one I have, but a lot of fun racing game. Again, there's tons of racing games on the system. It's a cheap game, so I definitely recommend picking it up if you guys like the Rush games back in the arcade. So, solid game. Next one is Beetle Adventure Racing. So this is a really a game that had no business being good. To be honest, it's kind of like an ad for the Beetle car, and it's actually a fun game. So definitely pick it up if you guys, like I said, want more racing. Next one, absolute classic, Diddy Kong Racing. What can I say about that? One of my absolute favorites, F-Zero X. Another fantastic game, great music. And you guys know how I feel about this next one. I got Snowboard Kids. Check out my review if you want to know more of my thoughts on it. Love this game. And the last two I have racing is Wave Race 64. Another classic. And we got Road Rash 64. This one's pretty cool. It's not as good as I thought it would be, to be honest. I haven't played the Genesis versions or the PlayStation 1 versions in a while, so I can't really speak on it if this is as good. I don't think it is because I didn't really enjoy it as much. I just think maybe it's the graphics. It's kind of more three-dimensional and not as much like those 16-bit ones had a little bit more charm, or that PS1 had like the live action cutscenes. So I want to go play those again, but this is a decent game. All right, so real quick, let's do my my Mario games. I didn't know how to categorize them because there's so many different versions of it, so I just kind of grouped them together. We got Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, the original, and we got Mario Party 3. So a couple in there I'm missing, obviously. Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64, and Mario Party 2. I'll pick those up at some point. I just haven't really prioritized them. But yeah, those are my Mario games. All right, so let's do a couple smaller stacks. All right, so let's do Star Wars. So these are my, there was a bunch of Star Wars games on the Nintendo 64, and these are the ones I own. So I have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I'll put these over here. Star Wars Rogue Squadron. And Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. I believe this was a launch title for the Nintendo 64, and it was one that I played a ton growing up. And just really had a lot of fun going back to it. I don't know how well it holds up these days. I think the controls are a little bit wonky and, a little floaty. If you've played it, you know what I mean. But the Hoth level in the beginning of this game is awesome, still to this day. And, I do have a lot of nostalgia for this game. And it's a pretty cheap game. So if you guys are a Star Wars fan, definitely recommend picking this one up just for that reason. All right, so let's do platformers. So first up, we have a classic, Banjo-Kazooie. We got Donkey Kong 64, another classic. A little bit of a bloated platformer. I mean, there's a lot of collectibles, a lot of stuff to do. And Rare went a little crazy with this one, but I enjoyed this game. But I do want to mention, you do need the expansion pack to play this game, so if you don't have it, make sure you get it if you want to play Donkey Kong 64. And I just love that yellow cartridge. And another one, Toy Story 2. So this one is a lot, it's kind of like it's a 3D platformer, and you play as Buzz Lightyear, and you kind of collect these coins and different aspects, kind of similar to like Super Mario 64, where you would collect like stars. It's kind of like that in that there's different levels, and you have to collect these. I forget what they're called because I haven't really played this in a while. But you collect these different items and kind of go through the level, and it's just a lot of fun. I definitely recommend picking this one up as well. And if you're a fan of Toy Story, or if you're just a fan of 3D platformers, I think you guys will enjoy it. It's also on the, I know it's on the Dreamcast. It might be on the PlayStation 1 as well. Not sure. All right, so next up is my wrestling games. So I'm sure you guys are aware, if you have an N64 or grew up with an N64, this was the era for wrestling games. Some of the best ever made, even to this day. And let's go through them. So first one up is WCW Mayhem. Now, this is not one of those that I'm talking about, but this is a solid game. I know it's available on the PlayStation 1 and I think Dreamcast as well. And it's a fun wrestling game. It's not the best, but it is decent. And I think the presentation is pretty cool, especially since some of those other N64 games didn't have the presentation. But gameplay-wise, it's not as good, but fun. Okay, first up, we got WCW versus Nwo World Tour. So this was the first one that THQ AKI made. And this one, going back to it, it's definitely not as good as the others because it was just starting out. But it has the gameplay, and you can definitely see where they were going with it. The character roster is pretty small. The modes are pretty limited. So this is a pretty cheap game. Like you could probably get this game for like $5. It's very cheap. So if you guys are a fan of these N64 wrestling games, I'd pick it up. But there are some better ones on the system. Next one, we got WCW versus NWO Revenge. Great game. Awesome. This one is where they really started to hit their stride after World Tour. And huge character roster. I mean, if you're a fan of WCW in like 97, 98, pick this one up. You will have a blast. It's just amazing. Again, the presentation isn't really there because there's not as many, there's no entrance music. It's just generic. There's not a whole lot of game modes, but again, the gameplay is just so fun, so solid. And then, you just have you can hook up with 4 players and play it all together and just have a blast. So great game. Definitely pick this one up. Next one up, we got Wrestlemania 2000. Great game. And then the absolute king, WWF No Mercy. So for me, if I'm going to pick up, if I was going to recommend wrestling games on this system, definitely No Mercy, pick that one up. And then I would probably skip WrestleMania 2000 and World Tour and pick up Revenge. Honestly, this one is a little pricey just because it's the most recent and the best of the bunch. The other ones are all pretty cheap, but I think if you're going to pick up No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000 isn't really necessary since it's very similar. This one is king, but I like Revenge because of the WCW roster. So you get a little bit, a bunch of different wrestlers and a different experience playing that game. Okay, so the next category here, grab this last little stack. This next category is miscellaneous, so I couldn't really figure out where these would fall. Either didn't have enough to really categorize them, so this is my miscellaneous. All right, first up we have Mission Impossible. Had a lot of fun playing that game back in the day. I got Army Men Air Combat. I got Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2. This is another one that has a nice little end label on it. Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2. Did I say that one was 2? That one's 1. This is 2. And then I got Jeopardy. And next one, absolute classic. Everyone's got to have it for the Nintendo 64. Star Fox 64. An interesting one that I want to try to get into more is Shadow Man. I don't know I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to get into this. I don't know if it's just a little too like early 3D for me, and maybe I don't have nostalgia, and that's why I'm just not able to really get over the hump. But a lot of people do like this game, and I believe there was a remake or remaster of it recently. So definitely check this one out if you guys are interested. It's not very expensive, which is why I picked it up, and I wanted to try it out. So just haven't been able to get into it. One of my favorite games of all time, Resident Evil 2. I just love the port on the Nintendo 64. And then another one that's, I have a lot of nostalgia for is Fighting Force 64. So this one is kind of like a cross between like a Streets of Rage and like Die Hard Arcade. One of those kind of like, it's a 3D beat 'em up and just so unique. It's a little clunky. It's a little like dated. You can definitely tell like the frame rate is really bad. And the controls are kind of like, it's just, it takes a little bit to get used to. But I do think it's a fun game. I really enjoyed it back in the day. And so when I started collecting for the Nintendo 64, I had to pick this one up. So let me know if you guys have played Fighting Force 64. I think this is a really, I wouldn't call it a hidden gem. I don't know if it is one of those, but I definitely think it's one that a lot of you should play. All right, and then the last two, these are my RPGs, I guess. So first one up, another one of my absolute favorites. We got Paper Mario. And then last, but certainly not least, Ocarina of Time. One of my favorite games of all time. Honestly, might be my favorite game of all time. Absolutely love this game. And that's it, guys. Had to take a deep breath because it's a lot. So let me know what you guys think. I really appreciate all the comments and all the support that you guys give me, and I can't thank you enough. It's really the biggest reason why I do this stuff. It's just a lot of fun interacting with everyone, and I enjoy making these videos. So appreciate it, guys, for checking it out, and hope you have a good one. Talk to you later.